a super interesting one this time. I've got so many topics to cover. As you can see, once again, this is a tarot read. In this video, I've got a whole list of topics to go through. I don't know how many we're going to get through, but we'll see how many things we can get through. I've got some brilliant questions. Now, I have seen, obviously, whatever's in the video will be in the title, so you'll know more than I do at this particular stage of what's in this video. And if you remember, I did a look at the med beds. The other thing was I wanted to look at the health. Obviously, I'm going to be looking at the med beds as well, because I wanted to have a look at the med beds and the just general health system as it is. And also I'm going to be looking at, there's some more come up about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I wanted, particularly Amber Heard, I wanted to look at that. I also wanted to have a quick look at the royals. Apparently they've moved the crown. Apparently they've moved the crown for resizing for King Charles. But obviously I want to have a look at that, if that's true, or have they taken the crown? Is it being melted down to share the wealth between the population, which is what we all think should happen, isn't it? And hashtag notmyking as well. That's a thing that's happening as well. I wanted to have a look at that. And also I've been prompted to have a look at Candice Owens, and I thought, well, what a brilliant idea, because I've done a lot of the stuff to what she's been up to, but I've not really covered her as a person, so I did want to have a look at that. So hopefully, things going well, we'll fit all of that into the video. So let's get on with it. Now, I did a video a while ago looking at the med beds, looking all into the med beds. I'm not going to be doing the same thing. They've just said to me it depends on what happens around this time. Okay, so I guess what they've just said to me is it may not. We've had some significant moves, haven't we, in the past position. We've had to juggle things, we've had to keep quiet on many levels. They want us to know this is moving forwards. This absolutely is moving forwards. Yeah, there you go. There's choices and there's lots of different possibilities of how this can go. There's lots of different possibilities as to how this can go. I went straight for the tower then, because obviously that's what we want, isn't it? The tower and the sun together. Everything's going to be shook up and everything's going to be brought to light. Everything's going to change. The sun's going to shine. Everything's looking rosy for us human people. And this card is all about carrying on as you are. So I get whatever happens, this is going to happen. Please don't be disappointed if this is a little slower than we'd anticipated. It is better in the long run, not for us, obviously, because we're already there, but there's a lot of people going to be very shocked and upset about this, and I get that that's what they're talking about here. Keep on the work that you've been doing, whether that's just supporting the YouTubers that you're supporting, or whether that's posting the odd thing, or lots of things on social media, or talking to other people, or getting involved in groups. Keep on doing what you're doing, because it is shifting the consciousness, is what they've just said. Because ultimately this is where we're going. It's not just about awakening people to what's been going on the planet and why it's been going on, which I explore in my it was called The Real History, but I'm calling it the Starseed History because that's what it is. I'm going to be finishing that off on my website at some point, on my membership site, on my website at some point as well. But keep on moving forwards with that. Yeah, this is that what they're saying is this kind of is a gift in taking it so slowly. But whatever happens, it is going to happen. There's no way, I already know that anyway, there's no way this can not happen now. It is going to happen. We're entering the monastic photon belt. We're coming into galactic alignment. the awakening is going to be happening. It's already agreed. It's already on the cards. It is happening. What that's going to look like is not set in stone. Where we're going is set in stone. It's like writing a novel and you've written the end, but you've not written the story yet. Which I suppose is a good idea, because you have to know the plot, don't you? It is going to come to light. They are going to be bringing this out. It's just choices into how that happens. Well, it seems like there's been a big struggle about this in the white hat camp as well. There's been a lot of arguments about it, but I guess that what they're saying is our starseed families are saying it's not a good idea to shock people too much, and I do understand that if there is too much distress in the world, it's going to decrease the energy of the planet, no matter how high we've got the energy as light workers and starseeds have got the energy. The pull of a large amount of the population going into fear and distress will sink the energy down. We may lose Christ grids, and that's not a good idea, and that's what they're advising here. That's why we're going so slowly, which is actually quite comforting, isn't it? That there is a reason for them going so slowly. I see it picking up. I see everything that I'm looking at, everything that's going on, more and more and more. It's being drip fed out there. I get the white hats are not happy about it. You can't blame them. I don't think anybody's happy about it. But ultimately, it is for the best. Doesn't really answer my question. I don't see there's been a decision made yet, and I do get that it depends very much on the what's happening elsewhere, and what else is coming out, and how much shock that causes, because obviously the higher entities can tell the level of vibration of the planet when that dips and when it doesn't. We keep getting that fire sign woman. Now, I've just asked please for a time. I'm drawn to this card 3 and the Pentacles are months. I'm getting 3 months from now. Within 3 months at the out. Oh, I can't think of the word. That's the latest date is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Right. There were a few other things I wanted to discuss here. Because this is a little bit to do with the med beds, really. I was on my YouTube feed the other day and I came across this documentary about this. This was a scientific study. This was not like just, people saying these things work or somebody selling something. This was a scientific study into apricot kernels, B17 and cancer. And I didn't write the title down. I'm pretty sure it's quite easy to find. I found it. It was a documentary. It was over an hour. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it looked like it was in the 60s or the 70s that they'd done this study, and they said there was an 80% cure rate. But as soon as the study had been done, the information had been suppressed and apricot kernels had been banned. Now, I'm not saying whether that's true or not. I'm just saying that I've heard that before, and there was a documentary that this was actually a scientific study. And I know a lot of other truthers who have noticed that every time a possible cure comes up, it vanishes for that particular thing, that it vanishes. Now, this has been said on many, many occasions before, and it does kind of fit in quite well with this thing escaping from the lab and the whole cure thing, and how many people have suffered and died from this whole situation. Not just these 2 situations, but many other situations. I'd also heard that the cure for AIDS, HIV, had been patented. like before or at the time it came out. I heard that. I don't know whether that's true or not. That's just what I heard. And it just seems to me that it's gonna, at some point this is gonna come out. Now I don't know whether this is gonna come out when the med beds come out, or after or before. I don't know, but I'm just saying that if it has been true, if all of this is true, and I personally believe it's true, you don't have to. Imagine the amount of pain and anger and suffering that's going to cause. I've certainly had people in my family die from certainly cancer, and if not just died but suffered and died. And I know I'm not the only one. And if this all comes out, just think how much that's going to shock and hurt people. I mean, especially with if the truth comes out that the med beds have been here all the time. More than hyperinflation, more than the fuel crisis, all the staying at home and putting things on your face, all the Black Lives Matter things, all the Balenciaga things. This I think is going to shock people, but once again we have to think that the vibration of the planet is so important. We've raised it to such a level right now. We have the third Christ grid, I think, is just being formed. I think it's partially formed, halfway formed is what they're saying to me. I haven't checked in on that for a while, but that's what they're saying. And it's so important. So whatever does happen, please remember, stay in your happy little light work bubble. Help other people. I'm not saying don't go out there in the world and do what you feel is best for you, but stay in your happy little light work bubble if at all possible. We can counteract a dip in energy, but only so much. I did also want to say on this exact topic that I've got a friend of a friend who's doing a psychology degree, and they've said two incredibly interesting things about their course that they've been taught. Some of this is compulsory, some of this is compulsory part of the course, and some of it is I can't think of the word now. You can choose to do it or not choose not to do it. One of the compulsory parts of the course is what is now called, apparently, rabbit hole syndrome, or they're suggesting this is what it should be called, which states that conspiracy theorists are endangering themselves and others, and it's a phenomenon that needs to be looked at and considered by psychiatry, that it can be reversed. Now, I just think that was incredibly interesting that they're actually saying psychology is actually teaching students that this is a syndrome, a phenomenon that's going on. They're saying you get drawn into something and you can't get out of it, and they specifically mentioned the illness and government related to trust in the government, and also the 2020 presidential election and QAnon. Now, I wanted to share that with you because I thought that was incredibly interesting, and this really is what we're up against here. Now, very quickly, I wanted to look at the JD and the AH situation, the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation here, because I've been seeing a lot about her recently and I've been asked some questions. Let me see. Apparently, this all started when she sued Johnny Depp's friend. He wrote an article in Doug Stanhope, his name is. He's a friend of Johnny Depp's. He was with him apparently throughout the whole thing with Amber Heard. This is in, I think it's called The Wrap. You can still read the article. We found the article and we read it, and this was on the 29th of May 2016, when he discussed Johnny Depp's situation with Amber Heard and how his friends were like, well, we can't really say anything, but we want to say something, and we saw what was going on, but he didn't. And apparently she sued him for that. I don't know whether she won or not, but I think this was what kicked off the whole thing. I'm not absolutely sure. If you know, please write in the comments so me and everybody else can know. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on this whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Obviously, I've been following since the trial and all the things that have been uncovered since then. But like I say, I don't know. This has just come up. The other thing was, I was asked if she will be sued and convicted, which is an interesting thing. Let me shuffle now and see if she is actually going to be sued and convicted. But a couple of other things came up about this as well. Oh, had a card thrown out. Let's start off with that one. That's just thrown itself out. Temperance. Balance. Balance. Okay, it can't go too quickly. Balance. Apparently, I think it was her legal team, I'm not absolutely sure, was saying that she's mentally unable to face charges about this because she didn't believe, sorry, what she believes that what she said was the truth. So theoretically, given that, she didn't lie. Now, I've spent a huge amount of my life with a narcissist. Not that I believe that's Amber Heard. I don't believe that's Amber Heard at all. I believe that's just an excuse they're coming up with, but we'll have a look in a minute. And I know that's one of their excuses. Now, whether a lot of them do invent stories in their head, and they tell themselves these stories over and over again until they actually believe it. Now, I'm not saying that this is what should happen with her. Obviously, I've confronted narcissists with the truth when they've been telling me, when they've been trying to gaslight me, and they do know what the truth is. Somewhere, it shocks them out of their little story, but they do know. But that's what I heard anyway. Me, I personally, obviously, I've been on the other end of the stick. I've been on the same end of the stick as Johnny Depp, and I know Johnny Depp may have said, well, it's over and that's it, he got what he wanted, but I see that this could really help wake the world up, and I do believe it would give a lot of satisfaction for victims to see some kind of justice be done. Although she is obviously in a bit of a state. I don't know if you saw, she's done a video, she's on the red carpet, and she is clearly off her face. It looked like drunk to me. It looked like drink to me. Couldn't rule out other substances. She was clearly 10 sheets to the wind, or whatever, however you say it. She was all over the place. I don't believe that's, I believe that's a clone, but I don't believe that's really her. That's what I got anyway. But either way, that image needs to be publicly, most of us, the majority of us, want to see some kind of justice done here, don't we? And her convicted, and if she needs help, whatever that is, to get help. Although I've been told that narcissists can get better. I've lost faith in that, but that's what I've been told. She's already been taken down by the white hats. That's what I got before. That's coming up again. Perhaps I need to readjust the question. No, they're going to tell me here. Okay. She's the real Amber Heard has already been taken down, and she knows exactly what's going to happen. I think we all do, because she was at the ceremonies, apart from everything else that she's done. Now, this is quite confusing, and I am getting here that a lot of this is about what's in the public's best interest. because that's where this is going to come from. This is what I've been asked. Is she going to get publicly convicted? Is her image or her name going to be publicly convicted? I'm not sure that's set in stone. I'm not sure they're seeing that as a priority, although they do seem to be carrying on the story here, because it is still getting a lot of attention. I think what they're saying here is the most important thing that they can use this for is to bring the truth to light. And if at some point we are going to know that this has been... I'm sorry about the noise. That's just my neighbours outside talking. That this is all going to come to light, that it's more important to get out what the crimes that she's actually been committing. And I'm not saying that what she did to Johnny Depp was not a crime, but the other things that they do with the thing that ends, the word that ends in chrome and starts with adrena, would be much more profitable to expose than getting her convicted for that. And as she's already, I don't see that she's received justice yet, but at some point that is going to have to come out, just as it did with the Pizzagate, was it Pizzagate, and the Epstein Island. That's going to be more helpful to the movement than her being convicted for things that, although would give us pleasure because it would bring some kind of feeling of justice, it's more important, what they're saying, is to focus on what actually would show the truth of what she and many others was up to. Yeah, I get that that's really what they're saying here, and hold on to that knowledge, because if we're just looking for her to get convicted of, and I'm not saying it doesn't deserve conviction, of course it does, but in terms of scale, if somebody had abused somebody and then murdered 20 people, obviously you would be more focused on getting them convicted of murder. That's kind of what they're saying here. It's not that you should ignore the abuse, of course not, but you have to look at what's the bigger crime. And I know any of you who've lived with narcissists or experienced narcissistic abuse are saying, but it's awful, it's terrible, and she should be punished and this should be publicly shown. But what I'm saying is that they're not taking that approach right now. That's not their priority right now, as I said in the beginning. I guess what they're saying is we can only watch and wait. We can only watch and wait. Right, I do want to have a little bit of a look at the royal family as it continues to unfold here. I hope this is not going on too long. It may be a long one, but I'm going to keep going because so much is going on. It's all hotting up out there. I do want to be getting these videos out as quickly as I possibly can. Right, let's have a look into the royal family and what's going on with the royal family. Now, I've been asked quite a lot about this, so I did want to have a quick look into currently what's planned with the royal family. Is Charles... No, we want to look at the crown first. Let's have a look at the crown, because that's what set it all off. I saw an article saying that the crown had been moved for resizing for the coronation of King Charles, or whatever it would be. I don't even know. No idea. But I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they have really moved the crown. And I wonder if it really is for resizing. I mean, what would be best would be if they melted it down, sold it all off, and we could all, the whole world, everyone in the world, every single person in the world, get a little bit of a share of the profits of that. That would be ideal. Wow, well that's it. That is fascinating. We've got the white hats coming up straight away in here. I had a feeling this was not about resizing the crown. This was about something else as well. But it has more meaning than that. They're just saying to me it has more meaning than that. And with the crown being taken, it was symbolic of something else. It was a dismantling of the power, which is oddly enough, isn't it, what I've been talking about, dismantling of the power, dismantling the crown. And we've also got the High Priestess in here as well. I can't say absolutely from here that that is what they're doing with the crown. I mean, melting it down. I don't believe it's gone for resizing at all. I do believe that what I've just said is what other people are seeing as well. This should benefit everyone. But I get it's not as simple as that. I get it's not as simple as that. They've just said to me it's all on hold at the moment. I guess this is not their priority. The crown has been taken by the white hats. They're deciding what to do with it. It was the taking of the crown that was the important statement, which I didn't see coming at all. It was a stage, but this is not the main focus. There's going to be an idea about what to do with it later on, and it's going to be intuitively led. And it's going to be a choice in love as well. So I do get something's going to happen with this throne, but right now that they're saying to me is not what they're focusing on, which also suggests to me that there's a lot more going to be coming out. A lot more going to be coming out. Let's see if we, let me just put it like this, if we are actually going to have a royal family at all, and if it's going to be these lot, whether it's going to be Charles, whether it's going to be William, it's all the same of the same to me. They're all the same. Doesn't really make any difference to me. I want them gone. Hashtag not my king, right? None of them. Let's have a look at this, and then we'll have a look at hashtag not my king, and we'll see what comes up. What's going to happen to the royal family? One more shuffle. That should be it. Let's have a look. Are we going to have a royal family? Are they going to be gone? Yeah, there they are. They've had to keep it quiet, haven't they, about what's going on. Dark hats. If you didn't guess. If you didn't guess what that card was. Obviously that's the black hats. It's still being decided. Once again, it's still being decided. That is such a shame. There's still a lot of people who don't know, and we have to take that into consideration once again. We have to think about what's best for people, is what they're saying here. It doesn't matter what we individually want. It's about what's best for the people. But whatever it is, the white hats, once again, the white hats are in charge. They're going to have to review the situation later on. Right now, it's not a priority. Things are going to have to be taken slowly. A lot of people, I guess, do still love the royal family. Let me just do a very quick spread on this hashtag not my king, because it came up. This is like a charitable organisation that's been set up. I didn't really investigate it that well, actually. I guess I should have looked into it more. I don't know whether this is just to take Charles down, or whether this was like to take the royal family down as a whole. But hashtag not my king, if you want to look it up, you may have already heard of it. Let's have a look around this hashtag not my king. Where's all this coming from? Is this white hat, is this black hat, or is this independent? Let's take a look. It's just another stage, another part. Choices, trust your intuition, people coming together. finding strength together, coming out and saying it as well, not just keeping our mouths shut. It was certainly divinely led. I'm not seeing any white hats in here at all, and the only black hats I'm seeing are in the outcome, so they didn't have anything to do with this. Not surprising really, but why I'm getting they're coming out in the outcome is that the black hats are really seeing a shift. Well, whoever's left of them, whatever's left of them, are really seeing a shift in the group consciousness, in the way that they're being perceived and how much they can control the population. This movement was divinely guided, so I'm going to say absolutely independent, and what it's doing is sending a message out to the black hats, not from the white hats, but from the people, and what the people are seeing, and how the people are coming together and moving forward with this and cracking this open, whether it's just one part at a time, or not. I'm going to leave that at that. I get that they don't know exactly what's going to happen with this or where this is going, but I do want to have a look at Candice Owens, because I know I've been looking at a lot of what she's been doing, and a lot of it is opening up some white hat agenda. Now, I have no idea who Candice Owens is. I remember on the first video I said I have no idea who Candice Owens was. I'd never even heard of her before this Kanye West thing and her came up. I have absolutely been focusing on what she's been doing, not who she is. I assumed that Kanye West obviously was a black hat that's come over. You don't get that rich and famous and at that point in history and not be a black hat. I assumed that he was a black hat who had come over to the white hat side. And I certainly didn't think very deeply about what Candice Owens was. I guess subconsciously I'd kind of put her in that box too. She, as far as I was concerned, and I didn't look into it, which is what I'm going to be doing now, she was just a black hat that had come over to the white hat side for whatever reason. But let's see exactly what Candice Owens is up to and why she's doing this as well, because we've not really looked at that, has she? Oh no, that's an interesting start, isn't it? Juggling things, finding strength in the lies, yeah, this saying to me exactly what I've just said. She was black hat and she came over to the white hat side, but actually not for the reason that I assumed. I was assuming that she had come over because she was put in a position to make a choice. I don't think that's what happened. I think she was looking for an out before. Now, I did read very briefly, and I didn't look into her life, but I did kind of want to have a quick look into it to find out who she is, because, like I said, I have no idea. But I think from what I saw that her father or family, or her father, was quite rich and famous. So I took from that she was born into a black hat family. Yeah. Now, we've seen this before. I can't remember with who, but we have seen this before. They born into this situation. They can't get out of it. They know if they try and make a run for it, that's it. They'll be removed. And she was looking for an out when the opportunity came up. This has caused her a lot of trouble, but here they've just said to me she feels that the trouble is worth it. She's done the right thing because she did want an out. It's not smooth sailing for her. It's not going to be smooth sailing for her. I guess a lot of people are assuming that she was or is black hat. And she certainly seems to have been in the past. Now, I'm not saying that she's an angelic person. I'm not saying she's a good person. I'm not saying she's a white hat. But from this, I am getting that she wanted an out. They offered her an opportunity. She took it. It's caused her a lot of stress. She believes she's doing the right thing. I think she's doing the right thing. I'm not saying it's all smooth sailing. I'm not saying that she's not done the things that black cats do, but I would suggest it was more from a place of being born into that situation. And I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm not saying that's an excuse at all. What I'm saying here is that, yes, if you assume that she was a black cat, that's what I'm saying, absolutely. So, yeah, not innocent at all. Now, the last thing was, now, as soon as I thought this, I thought, well, do you know, I haven't even done a read on Kanye West and where he's at. I was just kind of assuming that he was a black cat and he'd, I don't know, for whatever reason, done this for the white hats. But I'm not actually sure. So let's shift our energy over to Kanye West and let's see if we can get a little read on him, because I don't even know if he was a black cat. I mean, I'm assuming he was. If he was that rich and famous, then he's going to be a black cat, isn't he? He's going to have to have sold his soul at some point to have manifested that, especially being as who he married. Oh dear. Right, okay. This is a child card. This is a child card. He's the same then as Candice Owens. I would wonder whatever his story is, they're suggesting to me he was born into a black cat family. Actually exactly the same as Candice Owens. I wonder if that's why they paired up. He was given an out. He couldn't see an out otherwise. He knew he had no option but to take me out anyway, however dangerous it is. But he's agreed to expose this. He's agreed to help to expose the lies and deceit. It's not easy for him, as we can see, as we've seen from what's going on. And like, once again, as with Candice Owens, I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not making a comment about him. We get put in situations that we don't always know how to get out of, don't we? Especially if we've been born into that situation. Oh, there was that thing about his mother as well, wasn't there? His mother died in suspicious circumstances. And it certainly does seem to me that those are his real children, although obviously we've been fooled before. But I get that he wanted out. He was offered it out. He didn't know whether to take it or not. He knew the dangers of taking it, but he also knew the dangers of not taking it. I get this is more a cool, calculated response than with Candice Owens seemed to have wanted an out before. Whereas this is more about, this seems to be more cool and calculated a response. But certainly happy to have that ability to shift out of that and have that security to shift out of that. Whether he wants to become involved in this is part of the deal that is made. That's what I'm getting here. This is part of the deal that is made. Right, I think that's it. We got through it all. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you did. If you have any comments or you would like me to look into anything or you have any intel, then please do leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, click the bell. I appreciate all of your support. My PayPal tip jar is in the link below. My Amazon wish list is in the link below as well. If you like tarot, I'm just starting up a new divination channel which is going to be doing some flick through card openings and also some other little bits and bobs about divination as well. The link will be in below in the description when that's available. I would also appreciate joining me on my website, starlightworkcircle.com. I've got a membership site. It's all about awakening and ascension and supporting light workers, get attuned, supporting light workers set up their own business. And so please join me there. We've got Virtue, Page of Cups, innocence, virtue and innocence. Be bold and take charge, and moment to moment. Stay in the moment. Move forwards with confidence. Everything's going to turn out exactly how we think it's going to turn out. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.